Excuses for missing Mass. In regard to missing Mass, there is a magnificent tradition of strictness in the English-speaking world, a tradition which must be maintained. But the principle is that if going to Mass would cause a person a moderately grave inconvenience, he is excused from the obligation of attending. Therefore, the following would be excused. 1. The sick, or those who must remain at home to care for the sick, little children, etc. 2. Those who would be obliged to travel over an hour one way to church. If one is walking, a shorter journey would excuse in bad weather or if one were weak. 3. House servants who are forbidden by their employers to go, although they should try to change their position in order to be able to fulfill their obligation. 4. Those who cannot give up their work without relatively grave loss. 5. Workmen who by going to Mass would deprive themselves of reasonably necessary sleep. It is far better to err on the side of strictness than to be too lax in estimating that which constitutes an inconvenience sufficiently grave to excuse attendance at Mass. It is always preferable to attend Mass in spite of all difficulties. One will certainly never be holy if one accepts every opportunity of escaping obligations. The fact that one is in the state of mortal sin does not excuse him from attendance at Mass. Servile work. The Church commands all Catholics to keep Sunday holy, not merely to attend Mass. To enable them to keep Sunday holy, she orders them to abstain from, quote, those labors and business concerns which impede the worship to be rendered to God, the joy which is proper to the Lord's day, or the proper relaxation of mind and body. Canon 1247. This would include the traditional prohibition against unnecessary servile work on Sundays and holy days of obligation. By servile work, we mean in general that which requires more of the body than of the mind. Nevertheless, not only the nature of the work must be taken into account, but also the way it is done and how it is commonly regarded. The motive, e.g., to make money, is not the main factor in determining whether a particular work is servile or not. The following are generally considered to be servile works: plowing, sowing, harvesting, etc., sewing, laundering, lawn mowing, cobbling, tailoring, printing, masonry work, etc., all work in mines and factories, etc. In some places, custom justifies knitting, crocheting, etc. It is also permitted to go walking, riding, driving, rowing, journeying, even though these be very fatiguing. Literary and artistic works, studying, teaching, drawing, architectural designing, playing music, writing, typing, painting, delicate sculpturing, embroidering, taking photographs, are lawful, even if done for remuneration. Servile works are forbidden, even though they are done as a form of recreation or for some pious purpose. 2.5 to 3 hours of such work, according to its arduousness, would be a mortal sin. The following causes would excuse from the observance of the law forbidding servile work: serious inconvenience, works of charity toward those in need or necessity, public or private. Holy days of obligation. The modern word holiday is derived from holy day. When the Western world was Catholic, during the centuries before it was disrupted by the Protestant Revolution, holy days were feast days, and they were observed like Sundays, by going to Mass and abstaining from servile work. When Protestantism came on the scene, 1517, and the unity of Christendom was broken, all the people no longer went to Mass on the established holy days, and thus holy days were either no longer observed or they became holidays. But the Catholic Church still insists on celebrating some holy days every year. to bring to our minds in a special and emphatic way the great mysteries of our religion. In the universal church, there are 10 such holy days of obligation. Those 6 with an asterisk are holy days of obligation in the United States. In earlier times, there were many more holy days of obligation when certain countries were entirely Catholic. Asterisk. January 1st, the circumcision of our Lord, also called the Solemnity of Mary, Mother of God. January 6th, the Epiphany. March 19th, the Feast of St. Joseph. Asterisk. Ascension Thursday, i.e., the Thursday occurring 40 days after Easter and 10 days before Pentecost Sunday. Corpus Christi, i.e., the second Thursday after Pentecost Sunday. June 29th, the Feast of Saints Peter and Paul. Asterisk. August 15th, the Assumption of Our Lady into Heaven. Asterisk. November 1st, the Feast of All Saints. Asterisk. December 8th, the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Asterisk. December 25th, Christmas Day. December 8th and March 19th are not observed as holy days of obligation in England. In the United States of America, January 6th, March 19th, June 29th, and Corpus Christi are not observed as holy days of obligation. In Canada, January 6th is the holy day of obligation, but August 15th is not. Otherwise, the holy days of obligation are the same in Canada and the United States. The Church considers the holy days of obligation the same as Sundays, with the same prescribed observance of Mass and abstinence from servile work, unless it would involve serious inconvenience or relatively grave loss. It must be remembered that the purpose of the Church in making this commandment is positive, to help her children to do their duty toward God. Sunday is not meant to be merely a day of rest or pleasure. It is first and foremost God's day. Only when we have done our principal duty to Him are we justified in taking Christian leisure. Quote, "As a man keeps Sunday, so a man dies," someone has strikingly said. While it is perfectly true that the only action we are bound to perform each Sunday is to attend Mass, it is equally certain that the mere attending of Mass does not completely sanctify the day. One should also hear sermons, thus keeping himself informed about the things that matter, attend benediction, to receive our Lord's blessing, spend part of the day in the reading of things Catholic, visit the sick and the poor, and, in a word, make Sunday really the Lord's day. One special feature of Sunday should be that it gives the family an opportunity to meet together. It should be especially a home day. Nowadays, it is neither God's day nor home day for perhaps a majority of people, and that is a sad thing. Catholics should set the example by falling in completely with not only the letter, but the spirit of this first commandment of the Church.